Hello and welcome to Sam Not So Wise. My name is Sam. Today I've got part 2 of the SF Masterworks crazy reading challenge that I'm setting myself. I am adding 10 books that I have kind of read to the tier list. I'll explain that in a minute. So this is a crazy challenge I'm doing where I'm reading all of the SF Masterworks books as well as the Fantasy Masterworks books. And I will just update you with my progress with tier lists as I go along. I'll pop links in the description to the first video where I describe the challenge and the second video of the first tier list, as well as these will all be in a playlist. I must mention, by the way, that I have a little bit of a cold, so excuse any sniffles or potential coughs that I need to do. I'll try and edit them out if possible, but I want to do one take. So a little bit of housekeeping to tell you about. This will actually be my last video of the year. If you've been following my channel at all, you'll know that my wife is very heavily pregnant right now and is due to give birth any moment. In fact, the doctors have recommended that the baby should come this week. So by the end of this week, I will have a baby. And that is obviously going to be my only focus for a while. I'm taking all of December off and I'll come back in January or late December to do my end of year material, as well as maybe a wrap up of November and December. But for now, this is the last video for the foreseeable future. Very exciting times. Also, what I mentioned about kind of reading them is that, so last time I did 24 books that I'd already read as of starting this challenge, but I happened to miss a few off. Now that is kind of easy considering there was about 280 books on this spreadsheet that I made, so it's quite easy to miss a few. But so I think there's 3 on there that I missed off, so those I haven't read since that last tier list video, but I'm going to add them obviously because I have read them. Also, I wanted to make it 11 to make it a nicer number, 35, but I read a short story collection by Ursula K. Le Guin that I thought was on there, but it turns out that it's only half of the book, and there's another short story collection that I kind of glued together into this one massive collection. So I've only actually read half of that, so I can't add it onto the list at the moment. But I think that is all I need to say. So a bit of a long preamble, so sorry about that. But with much further ado, let's get into the tier list itself. So first up, we have Eric by Terry Pratchett. Now, I did mention that I'm adding the Fantasy Masterworks on there as well. So I have read everything in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, one of my favourite series of all time, one of my favourite authors. But this is one that I cannot remember, really. I can barely remember it. I think it's about Rincewind. But any Terry Pratchett book is going to be at least B tier, so I'm just going to pop it to the back of B tier, not right at the end, because I think it's probably better than that Douglas Adams one here. Kind of similar vibe in a way. So yeah, I can't quite remember it, which tells me that it isn't one of the best, but any Terry Pratchett book is good, so it deserves to go in the B tier. Near the end, maybe I'll reread it someday soon and I can maybe jiggle this around at a later point, but for now, that is where it's going to go. And next up we have another fantasy one, and it is George R.R. Martin Fever Dream, his vampire book set on the Mississippi River, 1850s. This was excellent. I really enjoyed this book. This is one that I've read since the last video. I read it in October. Classic Martin kind of characterizations, brilliant characterizations, amazing atmosphere, and actually really great thematic work. A lot to do with the slavery of the time, 1850s. It was still slavery times near the end, but it had a lot of kind of paralleling of human slavery and vampire slavery, and I just really enjoyed this book. Not an all-timer, but definitely an A tier. I'm going to pop it here. I think I enjoyed this more than Roadside Picnic, but a little bit less than The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. So good, solid A tier book there by George R.R. Martin. He has one more on this list, by the way, which is a sci-fi work, and it was his first ever book, so looking forward to that. Next up, we have Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. This was a fever dream of a read itself, really odd. I mean, I think Kurt Vonnegut is quite odd at times. I've read Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut as well. They're the only 2 books. Slaughterhouse-Five is an all-timer for me. Absolutely loved it. This one less so. This is going to be a B tier read for me. I did enjoy it. Loads of great humor. So much being said. Loads of like quotable lines. It is barely sci-fi, and it only really comes in right at the end of the story. I did enjoy it. I just think it was a little bit just too all over the place. I think I am going to pop it here just below Starship Troopers. Very interested to read more Kurt Vonnegut, but there's only one more on the list actually. So next, this is the one that is most shameful that I missed. So George Orwell's 1984. If you followed my channel at all, you will know that this is my favourite book of all time. First read it when I was like 15 or 16, something like that. Absolutely blew my mind, changed the way I saw books and reading, and I've read it 5 or 6 times, still my favourite book of all time. So obviously that is going straight to the top of S tier. All-time book for me. No book has ever surpassed it. I don't know if a book ever will. I kind of hope so, because you want to have that kind of reaction again. So we'll see. Maybe something in these 280 odd books will change that. I do hope so. But at the moment, 1984, firmly at the top of S tier. Next up, this is the last one. No, it isn't the last one. There was actually 4. Whatever. My brain is all crazy right now. But Fall of Hyperion, I had read that by the time I made the last tier list, which is kind of weird. Just shows how stupid and blind I can be, because it was right next to Hyperion, which I put on the list. So whatever. But this, The Fall of Hyperion, S tier, easily. At the time, actually, I think I preferred it to Hyperion at the time. I don't know if that's just kind of the recency bias, but over time, Hyperion has kind of grown, and I now prefer Hyperion to The Fall of Hyperion. I don't know what would happen if I reread the books, but also it's going to be interesting how my opinion changes over time of doing this massive challenge, because I am going to take a very long time to do it. But anyway, blah, 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 S tier. I now will put it here, just behind Dune. Excellent book. I really need to get to the Endymion books. I've been told that I don't need to reread those 2 books to really enjoy the Endymion books, so I will get to them, because I've heard they are just absolutely spectacular. So there we go. Next up, we have Isaac Asimov, The Gods Themselves. The 5th book by him I have read, and my favourite so far. A tier book. I really like the 3-act structure with this like sandwich, the bread being our world, and this electron pump thing that's going on there, and in the middle the filling is this alien world, which is really strange and different, like a really cool look on aliens with a really cool reveal at the end of the section. Again, not an all-timer for me, but really, really good. Did I prefer this to Fever Dream? Probably not, but it is right next to it. So sitting firmly in the middle of the A tier, Isaac Asimov. That is the only one of his books on this list, by the way, so you're not going to see any more Asimov, but I'm happy that this one does get placed in the A tier. Next up, we have Arthur C. Clarke, Childhood's End. This is my first Arthur C. Clarke book that I've read. There's quite a lot of them on this list, so there's a lot more to come. I was kind of spoiled about one of the big reveals in this. That is that you're kind of interested what the aliens look like. I knew that going into this, so it kind of spoiled that for me, which I think is a large part of the appeal of this book. Also, some parts of the end of the book, the second half, I wasn't particularly interested in. But there were so many great questions in this book in terms of themes, especially one that I really like exploring, which is, in a utopia, what do people have to kind of strive for? And I really liked that part of it. This is an A tier book for me. I've been umming and ahhing about how much I like this book. And I've been having conversations with some of my sci-fi friends, and they've kind of really helped me to build this book up. So it is going to be an A tier book. This is a lot of people's favourites, or one of their favourites. Not quite there for me, but I did really like it. So I'm just going to pop it right here next to The Gods Themselves. That really good book, and really interested in seeing what else Arthur C. Clarke can do. Right, next up, Greg Bear's Eon. This was a buddy read with some of my sci-fi friends. My first Greg Bear. There's a few more on the list. This is a B tier book for me. Good, but not amazing. It had a lot of problems. It's one of these books that kind of like throws so many ideas at the wall and sees what sticks. A lot of things just get forgotten. Lots of great sci-fi ideas, but not fully explored. So it just felt a little bit all over the place. It felt like he didn't really know where he was going in this, but I did enjoy it. The writing is extremely kind of bland, like Whitney calls it, like dad fiction writing. Some horrible sex scenes in there, but good, but definitely flawed. I'm going to put it in the B tier and put it down here somewhat in the back half of the B tier. So yeah, like I said, looking forward to reading more Greg Bear, but this one was just a bit meh for me. Not bad, not great. Next up, we have Cordwainer Smith, Norstrilia. This was quite a wild ride of a book. He is quite well known for doing short stories, mainly set in the same world as this book. And this is kind of like the magnum opus that kind of tail ends this whole world that he has created. And yeah, the writing in this was absolutely beautiful. He is a wonderful writer. But similar to Eon in a way, there's kind of too many things thrown at us. This is a highly quotable book with loads of great lines as regard to theme, but there's just too many, and I would have personally preferred a little bit more focus. But because of the uniqueness of this world, a really interesting story, and just great prose, great ideas, it is an A tier book for me. But only just. I'm just going to pop it in right at the end of the A tier. Really fantastic reading experience, but it could have done more for me. But a good book. There is a short story collection set in this world in this list, and I'm going to be reading that in December while this world is still fresh in my mind. Now the tier list is getting too big, which is interesting because there are so many more books to go, so I need to work that out at some point. But the final book is Daniel Keyes' Flowers for Algernon. Now, I don't know if this guy wrote any more books, really. I think I've looked it up at some point, and he might have, but you just never hear about them. So I'd be really interested to know if anyone else has read any more Daniel Keyes. Don't worry, it's not going in the C tier. This is an S tier book for me. Absolute all-timer. Very light on the sci-fi, but my God, is it emotionally impactful. I absolutely loved this. Really devastating book. Not at the top of the S tier, but it is going in there just behind The Fall of Hyperion. This, by the way, was one that I missed from the last tier list. So that is it. That's all of the books that I've done. 10 books. So I guess that's the end of the video for now. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching so much. As I said, I'm going to be taking a break for a bit while I get used to being a father and looking after our new little baby. So I will see you all in January or maybe end of December, just seeing how it goes. And I will continue with this as we go, and every 10 or so books I will update the list. But that is it. So if you enjoyed the video, please press like. If you're new to the channel, please press subscribe and join my journey. But be aware that it's going to be a little while to the next video. Talk to me in the comments. I love having conversations with you. If you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear what you think and how crazy my placements are. I'm quite happy there's only one C tier book so far, which is a good sign for the rest of the hundreds of books that I've got coming up. So yeah, that is it. So I'll see you in another video, not soon, but at the end of the year or the start of next year. So thank you very much for a wonderful year. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all of that stuff. And goodbye.